Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Today's game has Max winning the die roll and starting us off. He draws and plays a Canyon Slough. Swanga draws and plays a Plains, and immediately taps it for a Soul Ring. Arja's got a Windswept Heath, cracking it to find a land, and passes while searching. Mathieu plays a Temple of Silence, scrying 1. Max has got a Swamp, and he impends an Overlord of the Balemurk. He mills his 4 and puts Legal Magic card Dimension X Pizzasaurus off the mill into his hand before passing turn. He removes a counter from the Overlord during his end step. Swanga draws, plays a Forest, and casts Oracle of Moldiah. She then plays an Undergrowth Stadium off the top of her library, and taps it to help cast a Sylvan Safekeeper, and passes. Arja just plays a Forest, and casts Cullen. He also gets to mill some cards, and he puts an Aftermath Analyst on top as he passes to Mathieu. Matt's got an island for turn, and he casts Golem Scheming Guide. Max just draws, plays Desert of the Glorified, and passes. Swanga's turn has her drawing, and then casting Thalia and the Gitrog monster. She then plays an Orzhov Basilica off the top of her library. This bounces a Forest back to her hand, which she then replays, and then she plays a Quetzalcoatl. She finishes things up by casting 3 visits, and then hits Max for 3 and passes turn. Arja's got a Swamp, and he casts the Aftermath Analyst he just drew. He then casts a Zuran Orb and passes. Matt draws and swings Golem at Swanga. They both choose non-land, with Mathieu revealing a Felwar Stone, and removes Golem from combat. After combat, he plays a tapped Arcane Sanctum and passes turn. Max plays a Drown Your Temple and casts Experimental Confectioner. He makes a food token and passes. Swanga draws and plays out a Birds of Paradise, and then swings Thalia and the Gitrog monster at Arja. She sacrifices a Forest on attack, drawing a card, and Arja takes the hit for 4 commander. After combat, she then casts an Arcane Signet. She follows up by playing a Selesnya Sanctuary, which comes in tapped and bounces a land, and then replays a land and passes. Arja just draws and casts Phyrexian Arena, passing after it resolves. Mathieu draws and swings Golem at Max this time. They both once more choose non-land again, and Mathieu reveals Jace, Architect of Thought, removing Golem from combat. He then plays an Eclipse Step, and casts Ghostly Prison, and passes. Max draws and casts Legal Magic card Dimension X Pizzasaurus. As it enters, he puts the counters onto itself, and destroys the Aftermath Analyst, and passes. Swanga draws and plays an Augur of Autumn. She then plays a Windswept Heath, Temple Garden, and then a Forest off the top of her library, taking 2 from the Temple Garden so it comes in untapped, and with the Augur's ability active, she's able to cast Elish Norn, Mother of Machines off the top, and then cracks the Windswept Heath, going to find a Savannah. Swanga continues by casting Glissa, Sunslayer, and then goes to combat. She swings Thalia and the Gitrog monster at Arja. Once more on attack, she sacrifices a land, drawing a card, and Arja takes the hit for 4 again, and she passes turn. Arja's upkeep has him losing 1 from the arena, drawing from it, and then drawing for turn. He plays a Forest, and casts a Cash Grab, grabbing Ash Barrens. He passes after that. Mathieu draws and swings Golem at Swanga. They both say land this time, with Mathieu revealing Omniscience. He gets to draw it, and Golem becomes unblockable, dealing 1. Mathieu then plays an island, and he casts a Felwar Stone. He continues by casting Smothering Tithe, and passes. Max draws, not paying for the tithe, with Mathieu getting a treasure. He then casts Faith of the Devoted and passes. Swanga draws and pays for her taxes, and then casts a Worldly Tutor, going to find Avenger of Zendikar to put on top. She's then able to cast it off the top thanks to the Augur, and as it enters, gets 14 plant tokens. She then follows up by casting Reclamation Sage off the top. As it comes in, she gets 2 triggers thanks to Elish Norn, much like the Avenger did, and she destroys the Ghostly Prison and Smothering Tithe. Swanga then swings Thalia at max, and Glissa goes at Mathieu. Swanga sacrifices a land on attack, and they then both take their hits. This has her drawing a card from Thalia and the Gitrog monster, plus draws a card and loses 1 life from Glissa's ability. Her second main phase then has her playing Argoth, and she gets to put 2 +1/+1 counters onto her plant tokens thanks to Elish Norn and the Avenger of Zendikar. She then follows up by casting Cultivate, and gets another landfall trigger that's doubled. After that, Swanga passes. Arja loses 1 to the arena, draws from it, and for turn. He then plays a forest and has to pass. Metya draws and swings Golem at Arja. Metya chooses non-land, and Arja chooses land, and Metya reveals Do or Die. And afterwards, he makes a deal with Swanga to not wipe the board if she doesn't swing at him. She agrees, and he casts the Celestial Toymaker. He then follows up with Truth or Tale, and gets an Arcane Signet off of it. Moving to his end step, Metya then deals 4 to each opponent with the Celestial Toymaker for having people vote or making piles twice that turn. Max draws and casts a Big Game Hunter, but with Elish Norn out, it does nothing, and he passes after that. Swanga's got a Field of the Dead off the top, making 2 zombies as it comes in. She then plays some planes off the top, getting more landfall triggers, and reveals a Greensleeves, which she casts off the top thanks to the Augur. And then swings Thalia and half of her plants at Arja, and the rest of the plants at Max. Arja's ready with Fog, which is the only person I've ever seen cast this spell in Commander, and saves himself in Max. Swanga also sacrifices a land to Thalia on attack to draw a card. She then passes, and during the end step, Arja casts Abrupt Decay on the Celestial Toymaker to get some revenge on Mathieu for the deal he made. Arja loses 1 to the arena, draws from it, and draws her turn. He then plays a Haunted Mire, and passes. Matt draws and swings Golem at Max. Mathieu chooses non-land, while Max chooses land, and Matt reveals Bajuka Bog off the top. Golem gets removed from combat, and Mathieu once more renews his deal with Swanga to not get attacked. She agrees. He then casts Jace, Architect of Thought, and upticks the Walker, and passes. Max draws and swings the Overlord of the Bale Merc at Mathieu. He mills 4 on attack, but doesn't get anything to return, and Matt then takes the hit. After combat, Max casts a Grave Researcher, and passes. Swanga draws, swinging Thalia and half of the plants at Arja, and the other plants and Glissa at Max. This is Arja activating Cullen, and he sacrifices all of his lands to Zurin Orb with the ability on the stack. Unfortunately though, the worms come into play tapped, and Arja doesn't gain enough life to survive though. Max also takes lethal, and Swanga also remembers to sacrifice a land to Thalia's ability on attack. She then casts Retreat to Hagra, and once that's out, plays a Thespian Stage off the top, draining Mathieu for 2 with the Retreat trigger. She also makes some zombie tokens, and pumps her plant tokens. Swanga then continues by casting the Necrobloom off the top, and she then plays a Golgari Rot Farm, and as it enters, because of Elish Norn, bounces 2 lands back to her hand, but at least gets double landfall triggers. She then replays a land, getting more landfall triggers, and then casts Kadama's Reach, but only has 1 basic left to find. She puts it to the field, getting more landfall triggers, and passing turn. Mathieu draws and now has no choice but to swing Golem at Swanga. They both choose non-land again, with Mathieu revealing a Plains off the top and draws it. She then takes the hit for 2 off of Golem, and Mathieu then casts a Tragic Arrogance in his second main phase. This is Swanga keeping her Birds of Paradise, Return to Hagra, and Arcane Signet. Mathieu then casts an Arcane Signet afterwards, and plays a Bajuka Bog, exiling her graveyard. Matt then finishes up by upticking Jace, and passing turn. Swanga draws. She then casts a massive Awaken the Woods, putting 18 into the X. Because they're all lands, Mathieu gets drained down to 4 from Retreat to Hagra, and Swanga then passes turn. Matt draws and goes straight to combat, swinging Golem at Swanga. They both choose not land again, and he reveals one, so Golem gets removed from combat. Matt then downticks Jace, and gets to keep Fact or Fiction. He then plays a Plains, and casts a Fact or Fiction, but only gets a counterspell and some lands. Mattia then wraps things up with a Do or Die, giving her the choice between the Birds of Paradise and everything else. Swanga lets the Birds of Paradise hit the graveyard, and afterwards, Mattia casts the Toymaker's Trap and passes. Swanga's turn is quick as she draws and swings it at Mattia for lethal, winning the game. Game review time. So I think Swanga came out of the gate swinging and pretty much didn't take her foot off the gas pedal. Soul Ring turn 1 is awesome, to ramp into Oracle Moldiah for turn 2 is just wild. She was dropping so many lands and powering out so many spells so much faster than the entire table put together. It probably also didn't help everyone else that it seemed like Arja and Max's decks weren't doing a whole heck of a lot. And although Mathieu made a deal with Swanga to not attack him, I'm not entirely sure not casting the Tragic Arrogance earlier was the right move. It's one of those kind of situations where yes, she would have taken out 2 of his opponents, but he also might have needed those opponents to help deal with her. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.